I was a real boy. A green Christmas pajama covered in candy canes hid in white stripes everywhere still on my body because it was way too early to think about changing. Tuck sandals on my feet, the kind that always end up near the front door and follow you around without asking permission. I was sitting on the black bench in front of the electronic keyboard, leaning slightly forward, both elbows low, fingers resting on the white keys with the kind of seriousness that only shows up when something really important is about to happen. I looked at those keys. They looked right back at me. I took a deep breath, and I played. One single note came out long, clear, and following it traveled through the entire hallway, climbed up to the ceiling, slid across the cold chilly floor, and slicked away through the half-open window at the far end of the house. That was when it happened. The morning light coming through the window got warmer, more golden, like it was leaning in closer on purpose. I looked down at my own hands resting on the keys, but something about them was different. My fingers felt lighter, softer, rounder, like they had been carefully drawn by someone who really loved smooth curves. My skin shifted to a warm caramel tone. My curly hair changed too, slowly, the way the sky changes color before sunrise from deep black to rich chestnut brown, each curl becoming rounder, bouncier, more defined, as if every single strand had its own little personality. I felt my eyebrows grow more expressive, bolder. My eyes got bigger not from fear, but from pure curiosity and turned a warm honey brown, bright and shining with a light that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside. A tiny freckle appeared just to the left of my nose, the kind that only shows up on characters who are meant to live a lot of adventures. The smile came last, wide, open, full of teeth, the kind of smile that absolutely refuses to hide even when you try. The candy cane pajama was gone. In its place appeared a white t-shirt with a bold blue star right in the center of the chest, the most perfect shade of blue, the kind that looks like an afternoon sky. My pants turned into bright blue jeans with the cuffs neatly folded up. On my feet, two red sneakers with white stripes that looked completely ready to run, jump, explore, and never ever stop. I sat still for a moment, feeling the room around me fill up with coloring worms, my heart beating a little faster than usual. I had become myself, the real Teteu, the animated Teteu, full of color, full of light, full of curiosity about every single key on that keyboard hadn't touched yet. I stood up from the bench, took two small steps back, and stared at the keyboard with those new big bright eyes of mine. It had always been there, but right now it felt completely different. Bigger, more alive, like it had been patiently waiting for me this whole time, and I had finally shown up the right way. My mom appeared in the doorway, gently wiping down the top of the keyboard with a soft cloth, careful and slow, the way you treat something that deserves to be woken up kindly. The white keys caught the golden morning light and practically glowed. She looked over at me and smiled. She said the keyboard was all clean and that anyone who felt curious enough was welcome to get to know it better. I smiled right back, that wide star on the chest kind of smile, the smile of someone who already knows an adventure is coming. I ran to grab my phone and called Nico. I told him right away that the keyboard was open and that I wanted to try learning something on it that very day. Through the phone I could hear Nico's excited voice saying he was already on his way. Bolinha trotted over and sniffed at my red sneakers while I waited, tail wagging fast, like he already had a feeling that something really interesting was about to go down. When Nico arrived, we both stood in front of the keyboard for a quiet moment, looking those rows of black and white keys up and down. There was so much of it, way more than it seemed from far away. Dozens and dozens of keys with no names written anywhere on them, like a secret code waiting for someone brave enough to try and figure it out. We were brave enough. I was absolutely sure of that. Nico slid the bench a little and we both squeezed onto it together, knees almost touching. Bolinha lay down right beside us, chin resting on his front paw, watching us like the most dedicated audience member at the most important concert ever held in a living room. I went first. I pressed a key somewhere in the middle, then another one next to it, then skipped 3 and hit one further along. What came out had no shape to it at all, no rhythm, no melody, nothing. It sounded like the noise a refrigerator makes when something has gone seriously wrong with it. Nico burst out laughing and said it sounded like Bolinha barking underwater. Bolinha lifted his head and gave us both a look that made it very clear he did not appreciate the comparison one bit. We laughed a lot. Then Nico tried. He pressed keys with both index fingers at the same time, alternating fast, like he was typing an urgent message on a computer keyboard. His results sounded about the same as mine, more noisy than music. The problem was obvious. We had no idea where to start. The keyboard had so many keys and not a single one had a label on it. It felt like a secret language that nobody had given us the dictionary for. I stared at that long row of black and white and tried to find some kind of pattern, some clue, anything that made sense. That was when my mom walked in carrying 2 glasses of fresh orange juice. She took one look at our confused faces and asked if we wanted one small hint. We both nodded so fast she laughed. She told us that kids learn keyboard much easier when they think of their fingers as a numbered team. Each finger gets a number, 1 through 5, starting with the sum. And that the first notches of a simple melody could be taught using just those numbers. Something switched on inside both of us the moment she said that. My mom went and grabbed a small notebook, sat down beside us, and wrote a sequence on the page in clear numbers, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. She explained that if we placed the 5 fingers of our right hand on 5 white keys starting from around the middle of the keyboard and simply followed that sequence, something recognizable would come out. I looked at the paper, then at the keyboard, then at Nico. Nico looked at the paper, then at the keyboard, then at me. We both took a deep breath at exactly the same time. I placed my hand slowly, thumb on the first key, index finger on the second, middle finger on the third. I counted under my breath. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. The keys went down one at a time, carefully, and a sound came out. 5 notches. They weren't perfect. My middle finger had pressed slightly till the side and one notch came out a little muffled. But it was a melody. Small and shy, but it was definitely a melody. Nico clapped. Bolinha lifted his head again, this time with both ears standing straight up, like he recognized something in those 5 little notches. I tried again, this time slower, paying closer attention. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. It came out better. Nico asked for a turn and I moved aside on the bench. He positioned his hand copying exactly what I had done and counted out loud with me. The sequence came out perfectly on the second try, and we both shouted with excitement at the same moment, which startled Bolinha so badly he sprinted down the hallway and disappeared behind the couch. We both understood the secret right then. As long as we counted, our fingers knew exactly what to do. It was almost like a game of follow the number, and that made it genuinely fun. After a good stretch of practicing, we noticed our fingers were starting to feel a little tired from pressing the keys with so much focus and care. It wasn't a bad kind of tired, it was that warm, satisfying tired that comes from doing something you really wanted to do. But a small wave of hunger and thirst hit us both at the same time. My mom brought over the orange juice glasses from the counter along with a small plate of honey cookies. We went and sat on the rug in the living room, right next to the keyboard, and Bolinha came out from behind the couch the moment he smelled the cookies. I broke off a tiny piece for him, which he swallowed in one single bite and then sat there staring at me with those hopeful shining eyes waiting for more. While we ate, Nico said he never imagined that playing keyboard would require thinking about so many things at the same time. Fingers, numbers, keys, rhythm, all of which happening together. I agreed, but said that the hardest part wasn't actually doing everything at once. The hardest part was making yourself go slow when every part of you wanted to go fast. We stayed quiet for a moment, chewing our cookies and listening to the stillness of the afternoon. Then I looked over at the keyboard and felt that pull again. Not a need to show off for anybody, not to win anything. Just a pure simple want to hear that little sequence of notes one more time, and for it to sound even better than before. Nico must have felt the exact same thing because he looked at me and said, "One more time." I was up off the rock before he even finished the sentence. Bolinha came with us and curled up right next to the keyboard stand, like our very own official music assistant. Back at the keyboard, we decided to try something new. Nico suggested we play together, one hand each, like a single pianist with 4 arms. He would handle the deeper notches down on the left side, holding down a slow steady beat underneath everything. I would carry the sequence we had already learned on top. My mom leaned quietly against the kitchen doorway with a soft smile on her face. Nico found 2 low keys on the left end and started tapping a slow, steady pulse, boom, boom, boom. I waited for the rhythm to settle, breathing, and started my sequence right over the top. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. The 2 parts together created something completely different from anything we had managed before. There was steps, there was melody, there was rhythm. It actually sounded like real music, small and simple, but real. When we finished, we sat there looking at each other with that expression that only shows up when something turns out far more beautiful than you expected it to. My mom applauded 3 times, slowly, like she was pressing each clap carefully into the air so it would last. The sun was already getting low by the time we finally stopped playing. The living room had gone soft and pink with that late afternoon glow. My mom opened the notebook and wrote in neat, careful letters. Sequence 1-2-3-2-1, right hand, Teteu and Nico, first melody on the keyboard. Nico signed his name underneath in red pen and handed it to me. I wrote my name slowly with my tongue sticking slightly out from concentration, which made Nico laugh. I went to the keyboard one final time. Alone, unhurried, without counting out loud, I set my fingers on the keys and played the sequence from pure muscle memory. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. It came out clean and clear and warm in the quiet of the late afternoon. Nico stood there with his arms crossed listening, and then said in his most serious expert voice, "You are already a pianist." We both laughed again. Bolinha gave one single bark, quick and decisive, like he was officially agreeing with the verdict. When Nico headed home, I stayed on the bench a little longer, looking at the keys that had seemed like such an enormous mystery at the start of the day. There were still so many keys, still so much left to discover. But now I knew that somewhere in the middle of all those keys lived a sequence that belonged to me, one I had found together with my best friend, playing around, taking our time, on an afternoon that turned into a day I would never forget. I closed the keyboard cover gently, the same careful way my mom had opened it that morning, and my red sneakers carried me happily to the dinner table with a full and grateful heart.